Our bassist almost ended my career. There was a scene where we were smashing the gear. I'm like taking a drumstick and putting it through a drum, and our bassist, he's turning around with his bass to smash it on the drum. The split second, I'm pulling my hands away. He almost broke both of my hands. Hey everyone, I am Zach.
And I'm Tim. We're half of the band Rise Against. We're here promoting our new album, Ricochet, out August 15th. Even though we're here to talk about new records and new songs and new videos, we are going to dive in and go look at some of our old videos.
Trip down memory lane.
Yeah, which I don't watch our old videos.
I'm just seeing the windows. And
this should be interesting. So we're going to start with Swing Life Away. I mean, right away, just long hair, beardless McElroy, right? So this is happening in like Chicago, so our hometown. It's like alleys and streets. The idea was just like to grab like slice of life, Chicago, Rise Against band members, cruising around. And it's essentially like me sort of like auditioning the song for the guys in my band.
You mind if you show me yours first? Let's compare scars, I'll tell you whose is worse. Let's unwrite these pages and replace them with our own.
A guitar player's apartment, which was an actual apartment. We drove around in Brandon's like vintage pickup truck, which was his actual truck. There's a baby in this video that is mine and is now a 21-year-old young woman.
It's just nuts.
Right, which is nuts.
It's weird for me. I was not in the band at this time, but I did know the guys at this point, and this is what he looked like when I met him. You know, for me, seeing this video before I was in the band, it established this band. This band was from Chicago, which back in the Fat Wreck days and stuff, you were either from the West Coast or the East Coast, and Rise Against was Midwest. It was very specifically Chicago. And I felt like this established the band as like, this is our city, this is who we are. I felt like it was really important to say, no, we're different. We're not from, you know, coming from that different background. It says something about the band. You know, I was from Texas, they were from Chicago. You know, we didn't have a privilege of being from these other big scenes. You know, we were doing our own thing.
Next video, Prayer of the Refugee.
On the south by the fire sun, and the morning will come soon. I'll tell you stories of a better time in a place that we once knew.
The Prayer of the Refugee with a director named Tony Petrosian. There was a store. It was kind of like a Walmart, like a big box store. It wasn't a Walmart actually. It was like almost like an independently owned Walmart, but it was a big box store, and that's what we needed. And they let us in after hours, so like they closed at like 9 or 10. So we came in at like 11, and the idea was to shoot all night from like 11 to like 5 in the morning or whatever.
We are the angry and the desperate, the hungry and the cold. We are the ones who kept quiet and always did what we were told.
The video was designed to create a link between the products you were buying on a shelf to the sweatshops that are being made in somewhere else, in a different part of the world. And so like this was the trajectory of the shoes you're buying, the things that you're buying, and what fair trade is and should be in sweatshops and that kind of thing. But we essentially went into a big box store and just trashed it all night, you know? For some reason we booked really early flights the next day, so we had to go straight from the video shoot to the to the airport.
Don't hold me up now, I can stand my own ground. I don't need your help now, you won't let me down, down, down. Don't hold me up now, I can stand my own ground. I don't need your help now, you won't let me down, down, down.
I don't know if they would have allowed us to film nowadays, right, especially if they knew what we were doing. And that came off of our record Suffer and The Witness. That was like our second or third single, I don't remember exactly. And yeah, and it remains one of our more popular songs to this day. Yeah.
It kills me not to know this, but I've all but just forgotten what the color of her eyes were, and her scars or how she got them.
So this is Savior. This was the third single off of Appeal to Reason. It took us a long time to get to it. We didn't know this song would go on to become like our most popular song. It was a kind of a last minute video. We'd already used a lot of the budget on other videos. We did it in downtown Los Angeles at night with the director Kevin Kerslake, who's famous.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus.
For like lots of like like he did like Nirvana's Come As You Are, you know, did like some Pearl Jam, lots of the grunge stuff in the 90s, but then also lots of stuff the rest of his life.
There is no reconciliation that will put me in my place, and there is no time like the present to drink these draining seconds.
This one was just like, let's just get into a parking lot in the middle of the night, put a bunch of lights and just play music. You know what I mean? It wasn't big on message or like that kind of thing. It has this kind of furry vibe happening because there's these two different furries rolling around, which I think like had we a bigger budget and more time, I think we were trying to like make a statement about like the partisan nature of America. You know what I mean? Like the two different sides, like Republican, Democrat, the donkey and the elephant, like that kind of thing. It started with like that, and then we realized like that's a lofty concept to fit into like, you know, a 3 or 4 minute long video. So instead we just had furries kind of like just in a mosh pit, like jumping around.
Our bassist almost ended my career. There was a scene where we were smashing the gear, and I'm like taking a drumstick and putting it through a drum, and our bassist Joe didn't see that I was doing that, so he's turning around with his bass to smash it on the drum. As the split second I'm pulling my hands away, he was within, I mean, it's just one of those nuanced things where he almost broke both of my hands. And it's funny, we got a plaque for this song, which we're very happy about, and they froze that image of him almost doing that. Oh.
You can't feel the heat until you hold your hand over the flame. You have to cross the line just to remember where it lays.
So Satellite by Rise Against. This video we were like having a lot of fun on tour, playing some amazing shows, and people were showing up and the energy was incredible, that we thought, let's create a video that captures that live vibe, you know? And so we brought a camera crew to, I think, Quebec City and Montreal, and we just filmed both of those shows, and the camera crew got out there and they got in the pit. I remember they had that some really fancy camera at the time, at least. It was like next level technology that was on loan for like 100 grand, and like they went into the pit with it. You know, they were really like, we're getting crazy.
That's why we won't back down, we won't run and hide. Yeah, 'cause these are the things that we can't deny. I'm passing over you like a satellite, so catch me if I fall.
Yeah, it's just a slice of tour life, I guess. It was just, at the time, is all we were doing. We were barely going home at that point.
So the song Make It Stop, September's Children. This was a song that was written in just after a wave of gay teen suicides that had happened in the month of September in the States. It's while we were writing the record, I felt very just inspired to like create a song like in tribute to like these people that were hurting themselves, but also to make a comment as a rock band about, you know, where rock needs to stand and assert itself in the struggles of the LGBTQIA community, you know? Because I feel like not enough rock bands were making enough noise about this, you know, and in fact, there was too much homophobia existing in the rock environment, you know, which I thought this is fucked up, but this should not happen. And so I think partially inspired by that, partially inspired by some of our fans, meeting them and like them having questions about where we stand. And I was like, holy shit, there's a question about where we stand on this? Like, we need to make a definitive statement, I guess, you know? So that was the song. And then it became a single. And we actually worked with It Gets Better, Dan Savage. It was like people from the gay community who had survived their adolescence, talking to younger kids saying, it gets better. Like, this gets better. Just please hang on. You know, I swear, high school seems like a lot, you know, like middle school, even college, you know, but when you get out of that, these things that seem like a big deal aren't gonna be as big of a deal.
Bang, bang, go the coffin nails, like a breath exhaled, then gone forever. It seems like just yesterday. How did I miss the red flags? Racing back the days we left. We braved these bitter storms together.
We were in Chicago, we were finishing a tour at the Aragon Ballroom, And we filmed this thing the very next morning, you know, and they couldn't find a lot of high schools in the area to agree to do this because they weren't sure about it. And they were like, do you have any ideas? And I was like, I mean, you could call the one I went to and maybe like we could just be like, hey, he went here, is it cool? And it turns out they were really open to it. And they filmed it in and around there. So it deals with suicide. It's a heavy video. You know, it deals with bullying and suicide. We are literally playing like on the gymnasium floor where like, you know, my high school basketball team was playing. And so it was heavy. I mean, we were just in London yesterday and we played at church, and afterwards there was a fan that came up to me and was like, specifically mentioned this song as like changing his life. And it was like, holy shit.
This is one of the things that I'm most proud of that we took part of.
My gun is bigger than yours, so let's arm the masses and see what the bastards do then. Walking tall once set us apart, now we're down on all fours.
People Live Here, another acoustic song. It's just kind of showing you like, here's a working class guy just trying to get by. Here's like a really wealthy developer who, you know, looks maybe a little bit predatory, you know, from the outside, and just kind of like intertwining their lives a little bit and like seeing how they are connected. And that was kind of like People Live Here, you know what I mean? Just like asking the world to remind itself that we all live here. We all have to live here. Be mindful of your actions and how they impact those around you. It was essentially what it was talking about.
Just when we're all just ghosts and the madness overtakes us, we will look at the ashes and say people lived here.
We aren't in this video, which would happen for a number of reasons. Sometimes the video didn't call for like a bunch of dumb looking band guys to ruin it. Sometimes we were just on tour and just so busy, you know, so.
Well, sometimes it illustrates the message so much better, you know what I mean? Instead of cutting to like the arbitrary band playing, you know what I mean?
We are the nowhere generation. We are the kids that no one wants. We are a credible threat to the rules you set across to be alarmed.
Nowhere Generation is the song, and this is the acoustic version of it. This was just after COVID.
It's kind of during, wasn't it?
It might have been during, yeah. It was like things were just starting to open up. We had this record finished, and we were just waiting for like the world to come back online.
And one day, all the walls will come down, all the doors will open, all the roads will lead home.
The world opened up. We found like a 3 or 4 day window. We came to LA and we hung out in a room like just like this for like 4 days. And we filmed enough things in those 4 days to basically last us like the entire record. You know, we like played acoustic, we made a video, we did a photo shoot, we did interviews. Because they were like, this is a small window, we don't know what's gonna happen. Everything could just flare back up again. Let's get everything right now. And so I remember they called it like just a content hall.
I was about to say, that's the first time I ever heard that term.
Yeah, content hall.
Yeah.
And even at the time, it didn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we doing so much stuff? And now I realize, because the world did, you know, close down a little bit more again. And then it would be a while till we would, you know, this is where we got our album artwork. Sure. We didn't have album artwork yet. So we got everything from this shoot right here.
Oh, you were closing the curtains, I was holding them open. Nobody knew in that moment.
So this is our new song. We just saw this video last week for the first time. The concept was a very like Greek Sisyphean character who's like, you know, you're carrying the rock to the top of the hill only to go back and grab another one, you know what I mean? And like carry that, and the job is never done. It's about like ambition and persistence, you know? And I feel like that can be taken a lot of ways. I think for right now in this moment in the world, like the job of fighting for your rights and your freedoms is never done. You always have to be lifting that rock up the hill. You can't just let it settle. Certainly watching like a seismic shift in power in the States and here in Europe and elsewhere, we always have to be lifting that rock up the hill. Because if you get lazy, you know, you watch what's happening in the White House, you know, in 2025 happen. So Thank you for taking us down memory lane here today. We had a blast looking at these videos. Some of them are a little cringy, and then some of them are have stood the test of time, you know what I mean? Which is the nature of art and output and creativity. So we've enjoyed it, looking at our past, and we're excited to share our future with you with our new record, Ricochet. So please check it out.